All right. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Coffee Q&A. I'm Jay, your host. We're here most every weekday, 10 a.m. Eastern, to talk coffee and answer any questions you might have. So if you have any questions about coffee, feel free to drop in the comments or anywhere on social media. We'll either, if you're here in the live chat, drop it now. We'll talk about it if we can, and if not, we'll talk about it in a future episode. So what's going on? How you all doing? Good to see all of you. Yesterday we were talking about this coffee, the Espresso Reserve from Torque Coffee, that's produced by Finca Vista Hermosa, or grown by Finca Vista Hermosa, and roasted by Torque, imported by Torque, and all that kind of stuff. And we were making espresso. Since it's an espresso blend, we were making espresso. And if you look here at the label, right, the label says notes of fudge brownie, chocolate cake, apricots. I don't know if I would say that I got any kind of apricot, but definitely there's some kind of fruit, maybe like a little bit of cherry. There's some oranges, some citrus, but I didn't get any brownie, didn't get any chocolate cake. So thought we'd come back again today to see what's going on, see if we can get better results out of it. It was roasted on May 6th, so it's been over a week now. So hopefully that, I was thinking yesterday that maybe there might be some kind of, the performance problems we're having might be because we don't have enough time from degassing. Then I was thinking about it last night. I was like, maybe it's not degassing. I mean, if we think about the shots from yesterday, they weren't too fuzzy. I mean, too bubbly, right? They were very not bubbly. What I would not expect. They were if it was really degassing, we would expect to have much more gassiness to the crema, but we didn't have that. So it must be something else. Mom, good morning to you. How's things up in Queens? And Q&A to you from Thailand. Nice to see you as well. And okay, so let's get into it. We're going to go back to our grinding and whatnot. Here's our setup here. We've got our La Valentina E61 group head espresso machine. I wonder if we can get a better angle on that. Let me come out a little bit more on the width there. How's that look? A little bit better? All right, good. And we've got the coffee loaded up into our Mazzer Major grinder. I'm going to add more coffee because it probably needs a little bit more. I can smell the coffee now more. It's got nice aromas coming through. A little bit of more not roasty, but like more developed coffee aromas. Make sure that our portafilter is nice and clean. We've also got I did replace the cable last night, so we got another, hopefully a better angle here that you can see from above. So let us do some, we're going to do some, we want to do some weighing. $582 grams. All right, so that's our. So we're grinding the coffee here. I'm getting rid of whatever's in there because it's leftover might be from yesterday. So we want to get rid of any excess. I don't know why I have this here because I don't really use this and it doesn't really fit, right? Like if I put that there, it kind of fits. Oh, it doesn't. The arm gets in the way. All right, let's see how much that coffee is. Oh, really? 224? I'm going to get rid of some of that. 22. We'll say 22. Well, good morning. How are you, Madan? Let's get rid of a little bit more. Oh, God, this thing is way crazy. I think I'm going to switch scales. I'm going to switch scales. Grab the other scale. This is the Temu scale, the one that I think was like $9. It's okay, but there's no way that I knocked out more than a gram, almost 2 grams in that last swipe. So let's see here. We said 582 grams, right? 582 grams. This one will be 601. So let's say 601. So no, oh, see, that's what I thought. 19 grams. This is a little bit too light. Let's go back and get just a little bit more coffee in there. Oops. 19 plus 3, so almost 22 or so. Okay, that's good. That's good. We're just going to, where are we going to go? We're going to go here. We're going to go here. Just make sure that it's all distributed evenly, right? And now, I'm not going to use that tool. I like to place the portafilter here on the counter like this. And then I'll drop I like to just drop the tamper. And then what I like to do is here, I'm just going to use my fingers to feel around the edges. And what I'm doing is I'm using the pads of my fingers on opposing sides just to feel the height difference between the top edge of the tamper and the rim of the portafilter. And all I'm doing is I just go around like this, right? And I just make sure that it's relatively flat or even on both sides, right? And if there's any kind of aberration as far as height-wise or level, I'll just kind of push and adjust. And then when it comes time to actually tamping, just bring it back, give it a nice little pressure and a slight twist at the end, and that should be good. Now, I'm always trying to keep a right angle, right, to the arm. Now, this particular bar is 42 inches, so it's really too high to do this. Like, you'll have ergonomic problems. You want to have something lower. Like this part over here is a better height, right? I would like it to be a little bit lower. Like for me, designing a bar, I would like to have it about there. However, depending on how you design things, you may have a limitation. Like sometimes you need to have equipment underneath your bar. So in some situations I've seen, you have to have, some people need refrigerators, and you can only get refrigerators in so many different sizes. So that kind of dictates it. I personally like a very low slung bar. The place that I learned how to make espresso had a big 5-group La Marzocco, and it was like real. It was like the top of it came to about there, and it was awesome because you had so much, so much. Like you had so much open space between you and the guests that you could talk to the guests and really engage. Whereas when the machine is up to here, it's a different experience, right? Different experience. All right, so once you do that twist, you've got should be nice and flat. You can see the ridges from the impression there. So let's see what's going to happen. Make sure we flush the machine. Right, this one doesn't really sputter. It does very good a job at regulating the temperature. Once you lock it in, we want to brew right away. Add the coffee, or I like to hold the cup, right? And we're getting a little bit of flow. Now with a vibratory pump, it's going to act differently. Like it takes longer for the vibratory pump that's in this machine to ramp up the pressure to start pushing it out. So it always takes longer for the espresso to start flowing than if you had a big rotary pump on the bigger machines. All right, we're getting some fluctuation there. We're going to stop. I don't know if I like the way this looks. Right, like, does that look nice? It's got crema, but it just doesn't have a lot. Like it just doesn't. Good morning, Michael. It just doesn't have the prettiness that I'm looking for. And what I mean by prettiness, I really want to see, like for me, a great espresso is one that has nice reddish brown crema with a bit of flecking, like dark specks, what we call tiger striping. And it's got richness and full bodied and like a, okay, so the espresso that I like to drink and I like to make and I like to roast is one that's going to have flavors of chocolate. It's going to have hopefully a little bit of fruitiness to it, maybe a little bit of a berry character to it. And then it's going to have nice thick body, thick viscosity, and a long lingering nutty kind of finish, right? Now, this is not that coffee. This is a little bit different. Oh, actually, there's some apricot now, finally. But it's a body-wise, it's a thinner espresso. It doesn't have that body, but it does have nice character. There's the sweetness isn't as pronounced as yesterday's shot. But that could be a little bit of pungency even. All right, let's continue on and see what we can get out of it. Because it's always about trying to find the sweet spot for the coffee. And so, I'm telling you these things about what I like. However, that may not necessarily be what this coffee was designed for. Okay, let's get this out. Let's flush the group head as always. Bring the puck over here. Let's have a look at the puck. Good compaction, right? Dry. That's what we want to see. Comes out nice and easy. Good structure. All right, that's good. That's positive. These are things that we'll look at to see if the shot is performing, the coffee's performing the way we want it to. Now let's look here. We have just remember yesterday we had a lot more residual oils. Like I said yesterday, the residual oils are an indication of where you are in your shot. Now, it's not just like you look at it, it tells you everything. You really have to understand what you're doing, how far. Remember during the flow, we had a lot of this wiggly as it was falling, and then we stopped. So this is an indication that went a little bit too far beyond. We're probably extracting a little bit more sour tones to the coffee, right? Because we're over extracting rather than stopping the extraction at the right point or under extracting, right? So now it just tells us, maybe went a little bit too long, maybe look a little bit shorter. And then now back to rinsing. Going to rinse out our portafilter, make sure that's nice and clean. Then like I said yesterday, I like to leave my portafilters heavy stuck to the group head after I rinse so that it gives a moment for it to drip out. All right, let's go back again and dry out your portafilter, make sure that it's nice and clean. We really don't want any residual water, like liquid or wetness, or especially old coffee in here, because that will could give negative flavors to your coffee. So let's go back here. Let's weigh it out. This one I have to turn off. This is my old trusty Adam scale, scientific scale. Works great. I find scientific scales to be really good values overall. They're quite accurate because they're designed for lab work, and they're not terribly expensive. Some of them are terribly expensive, but these ones are not terribly expensive. All right, let's go back here and dose. Now you may notice that as every time I turn this grinder on, there's a little bit of a flicker in the lighting. That's because it's a little bit of a power drain, right? All right, so I've got this mound here. I think that's too much. I'm looking for 21 grams. So I'm just going to knock a little bit off of it like I did there. And let's go back here to see how well did I do. 26. Gosh, I'm really kind of heavy on these things. Now come back. 23. Wow. Really? Can't believe it. I'm usually much better at this than that. 22. Well, 22. We'll live with 22. All right. So, like I said, we're going to go here and bring it back. Now, a lot of what I said about this whole thing of feeling, I actually do that really quickly. And then there's a little bit left, so I'll flick that off into the hopper just to keep it, especially since if we're in an environment, like a professional environment where we're making espresso constantly, we want to save as much little coffee as we can. And also, as you can see here, this is why I don't like to make espresso at home. My counters here are white, which just make it look worse. Okay, let's get that done. All right. Flush the group head one more time just to make sure everything's good. Lock it in place, hit the button, and then again, we're going to let that flow come through. There we go, nice little flowing. Ooh, getting nice and thick there. Let's go to this angle, see if that's a little bit better. We're not getting a lot of thickness in the crema. It feels very thin. Like it's see that fluttering? I'm going to stop right there. And let's bring it back here. Like that is just thin to me. Like you can see, you can just barely see it, but I'm going to say that this is probably a little bit too long. You can kind of see the difference in coloration, right? There is like right here. See how there's like this line right here and a little bit that way. It looks slightly lighter. That is an indication of the blonding that'll happen after you've extracted all of the goodness out of the coffee. So it's going to be probably a little bit over extracted, right? A little bit of sour tones, a little bit brighter tones. Oh, yeah, not as nice as the last one. I don't know. It's not. It's a little more harder performing than I would like to find. Again, stylistically, it's a different coffee, right? This really has a lot of the characteristics I think that a lot of more modern specialty coffee people would really enjoy. Like there are bright tones, fruity tones, not very much body. Like I'm actually a little bit surprised. You know, Andy and Nanelle come from more of we share background in coffee. And you know, we come from the same kind of like era. I was just, presuming that this would be more closer to what we liked back then rather than more of what's popular today. This is definitely more, I would say, a modern style, especially coffee, espresso. Brighter, less body. Still good lingering characteristics. Like I think the aftertaste, the finish is still quite, but not as, to me personally, not as fulfilling. Like this espresso makes me think of a lot of espresso that I've had out in the world where, you go and it's on the brighter side. And I don't know if it necessarily, and like people always see, this is the kind of thing I taste in milk drinks. And it's like, I don't know, the brightness, to me, brightness and milk clashes. I wonder, though, how this coffee would be if we were to brew it as coffee. Let us taste that. I need to find a brewer. What do we have for brewing around here? All the brewing stuff in the world, and I don't really have much at hand. One moment, let me grab a brewer. Oh, I know what we're going to try also. We're going to try this. We'll do one more shot. We'll do another shot. We got this. I got this thing. It's coming out in a video this week. Is it this week? Yeah. I think on Friday this comes out. This is the two-way cup from, I think the guys that own Urban Coffee Roasters in Hong Kong have designed it. We talked about this when I was in Salt Lake City. Oh, here's some. These are fun. This is actually some from today's video that comes out in about 40 minutes. This is by ODZ or OZD. These are little keychains, but they're made in the style of their drippers, and I think their drippers, they're the drippers are fine, right? But like they have this one dripper that they're made in time, and they're ceramic drippers as well as plastic drippers. Like this is a plastic one, and these are made like they're big drippers, but little keychains, right? Kind of fun. And actually, you can brew coffee in this. Actually, we will brew coffee in this. We will brew coffee in this as well. And but the really cool thing is that they have these one version that are ceramic that are done in the traditional Thai benjarong style. And the benjarong style has been around since like 360 3600 BCE, so before Christ, like almost 4,000 years before Christ. And for the last 200 or 300 years, the benjarong has evolved to follow a style where it will be limited to 3 to 8 colors. And gosh, there's some gorgeous pieces. There's some gorgeous pieces. They were charging at the show $150. I was going to buy one, but I couldn't figure out which one that I really like. Right? Because you're running the show floor, and it's like you're under this time pressure. I'm like, oh, I don't know which one I like. There's so many beautiful designs. I would like to have all of them, but you can't buy, $600 worth of brewers. That'd be ridiculous. And so I just didn't buy one. I sent a message to them to see if I can get one now. Hopefully they'll make them. Yeah, CUNY says they're amazing. Yeah, they're beautiful, beautiful stuff. Like I really would like to have one. But definitely, CUNY, if you can go there and check it out, they're really. I think they're really cool. Okay, so this is something else I thought was really cool. This is the two-way cup. The idea is that when you drink from one end and the other, there's going to be more sweetness, more brightness. I don't know. I can't remember. It's in the video. Let's make an espresso and see if it will be a noticeable difference. We're gonna clear this out. Nice and clean. Oh, look at that. Nice and clean. That was stopped pretty much at the right point, right? So when I talk about we want to know when you're stopping, so this tells us we stopped at pretty much the right point. There's a little bit of extra there, but not too much to worry about. So we were able to extract all the flavors we wanted. Oops. Okay, there it is. So we're just going to go for it. I'm not going to worry so much about that. Uh-oh, let's go to get a stall. No, we're not getting stalling. Good. But it is super slow. Like it's not. I'm wondering maybe we should go a little. Well, part of me was thinking maybe we should go a little bit coarser. And by going coarser, it'll be the larger particulates will fill up more volume inside the basket, which means that we could probably go to 21 grams without worrying about it. These are like super thin and runny looking shots. I don't know what's up with that. And like super ristrettos now. right? Like we're just getting very little volume there. Sweeter. Maybe that's because of the way the cup did. I gotta say, I think there's something to these cups. The characteristics between the two sips are quite different. Hmm. I don't know. I can't. Sometimes you just don't do a good job, or sometimes it just doesn't go as the way you'd like it to. Huh. I don't know. Maybe it's just a matter that this espresso just isn't the kind of espresso that I like. I think that's really what it comes down to. Like sometimes you find coffees that you really love, and sometimes, they're not really what you like. All right, well, that's not terribly conclusive, but I guess that's all we have for you today. So tomorrow, we're going to back and we're going to continue our espresso exploration. Going to be a little bit of a different location tomorrow. We're going to go to the lot, my friend Matt's coffee bar at his house. He's got this out bar in his house. So it's kind of in the middle of the woods, very mid-century modern kind of house. Like it's kind of cool. He's got a nice setup there. If you've seen the video about the Malkonig extravaganza, where we're playing around with the X54, the E60, and the E80. That's the Latte Lounge. We're going to go there and do our live stream tomorrow, where we're going to be pulling shots on a GS3 La Marzocco, and we're going to be using my coffee, not the house, but the Espresso 99 from Spro, and using both the X54 as well as the Mazzer Mini grinders. Mazzer Mini, X54 is kind of cool. A little bit slow, right, on the grind speed, but we're going to do that tomorrow. And so if you have questions about espresso, we'll get into that even more then tomorrow. So come and join me tomorrow. Hopefully you'll be around. Mom, good to see you. Michael, thank you. Kiona, always good to see you. And Dan. All right, so that's going to be it for today. Back again tomorrow. Oh, yes, Kiona says, do you think if you went a little coarser, then it would create fines that contrast with the larger grinding? Well, you know what? If you're asking, let's give it a try. Let's go a little bit coarser. Let's go to this camera. I'll pull this out a little bit so you can see. Like this is my setting here. So if we're gonna go a little bit coarser, let's go that much. That's a lot of coarseness. Okay, let's clear this out. We'll do another shot and see. Whoa. Oh, that was not ideal. This is not an ideal situation. Luckily, there's a faucet next to me here at the bar so that I can rinse out in times such as these. Again, leave your and I like to try to keep everything as clean as possible as we go. All right, so let's give this last, go a little bit coarser. Everything's a little bit dirty now. I'm gonna go here, double check our scale. how much water? How much we have there? 20. Wow, there's a lot of coffee in this thing. Hard to imagine. All right, let's go with this one. Will this be better? Will this be better? Maybe. I think that's done. Ooh, that looks. All right, Keone, that looks a little bit nicer. A little bit nicer. Knock those bubbles out of there. You know, we're still seeing some of the striations here. That blonding, probably a little bit too long. A little bit too long. Well, with this change, we're getting a change in tonality, meaning that it's not as sharp. It's a little bit sweeter, smoother, but still staying in the body, right? This is not a body kind of coffee, but still the same notes of like that, a little bit brightness, some sweetness, some of that citrusiness, that more fruitiness. We're not really getting this fudge brownie chocolate cake character that it says as their description. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe that for those characters to come up, maybe it needs a little bit more development in the roast, because the roast overall is I think for an espresso it's slightly on the lighter side. Well, for what I would like an espresso, not right now. Here's the coffee again. I would like a few degrees more development to get more that body and chocolatey and stuff out of it, you know. But it's a nice coffee overall. I mean, it's if you're more of, like I said, if you're more of a modern coffee drinker, modern especially, that likes those lighter and brighter and more citrusy notes, fabulous. If you're like me and you really want more heavy bodies and chocolate and sweetness and caramel, fruitiness, it may not fit the bill. All right, so there it is. Nothing conclusive, as always. All right, we're back again tomorrow from the Latte Lounge. And see you then. Hope you have a great one.